Aye. Good afternoon. It is April 23rd, 2024. It is now 5:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask that you please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the beauty of all of your creation outside, the beautiful sky, for the flowers, for the jewel of the trees and the grass. For those who, we ask your protection for those who have the wind in their face and their motorcycles underneath them. We also ask you to bless every student who is a senior this year while they're having proms and graduations.
Yes.
Let them know that in the future that doors are just opening to them. This is just the beginning of the best that's yet to come. We ask your blessing on us today, each one of us, and on this council. Be with us as we make our decisions, that they be in your name, and that we do it for the people of this community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Ms. McKenna. On to item 3, motion. Motion finding that the advanced posting and notice requirements of Article 8.1200 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Orange, Texas have been met in relation to all minutes and pending ordinances and resolutions on this agenda, and that the reading of such items be confined to the captions as are agreed upon by the ordinances and resolutions. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a motion for Mr. Birch and a second for Mr. Childs? Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
Mr. Birch?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Any motion passes. On to item 4, citizen comments. At this time, comments will be taken from the audience on any subject matter, whether or not that item is on the agenda. All comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes for each speaker, and your comments are appreciated. As the Texas Open Meeting Act does not allow the council to respond to items not listed on the agenda, your comments will be duly noted by the council and forwarded to the appropriate department for prompt consideration. A member of the audience that desires to speak during the city council's consideration of any specific agenda item is requested to notify city staff prior to the start of the meeting. At this time, the first name that I have on my list is Candace, is it DeGator? Degater. All right, I learned it. Thank you. Come on up, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, y'all. Thank you for having us. I have Mary Snap here with me with the VFW Post 2775. We are hosting our second vendor event. It's a fundraising event for the VFW in Orange on May the 11th, 10 to 4. The address is 5195 North 16th Street in Orange. We will have live music, bounce house, face painting. We have a small petting zoo coming. 30% of the vendor fees go to all the veterans here in town, and 100% of the proceeds from the food provided by the auxiliary group will also go to the veterans. And we would love to get some community support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, next we have Mr. Bob Manning.
Greetings, everybody. Bob Manning, 802 West Cypress Avenue here in Orange. I am currently the chair of the Historic Preservation Commission. And so myself and Commission Member Wheeler are here because I understand that you have an item on the agenda that is our first work product that came out of our joint meeting back in fall. Where we had talked with great fanfare about rewriting our rules, looking at some proposed changes to the ordinance, and getting that HPC committee back to a place where we were actually, preserving history within Orange. So, Commission Member Wheeler and myself are here to support the process, and we thank you for supporting us and hearing our report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Robert Carney.
Robert Crane, 5624 Pine Needle Drive. And Miss Mary, I'm actually going to follow up on your prayer a little bit. So since COVID, Acadian has been reinvesting into careers and our own company and communities we live in the form of education. So to boost the number of EMTs on the street, paramedics on the street, and to offer an alternative for kids coming out of high school or somebody who just wants a career change, we hire on non-certified personnel. We send them through class. We pay them to go to class for a return of service. We send them through their ECA first. That way they have a job and benefits and they're working every day. As soon as we can after that, we send them to the next EMT class we have available, or through one of our partners at LIT, Lamar Orange, or wherever we can find a spot for them in an EMT program. And we pay for that, for return of service. So 2 years in, you have your EMT, you have 0 debt on you, and you're free to leave and go somewhere else, or you can stay with us for a little bit longer and we will pay and send you through a paramedic class. Either an accelerated class, so in 6 months you're a paramedic, or a traditional class, which takes about 1.5 years, 2 years to complete. But it's whatever fits your lifestyle the best, and again, we work with our partners in the community and the other colleges to make that happen as well. The intent is to boost the number of people available and to offer this opportunity to everybody we can. Today I started over in Viter actually, but visiting as many businesses as I can to try and put out flyers and show the community what we have available, because we want to fill every single one of these classes up. And they're remote classes, so actually we could do one here at Orange if we have enough people in a place to do it. So anybody who's interested, you can look around town for these flyers. I'm gonna leave these with y'all. There's a little QR code at the bottom, just fill it out and you'll be contacted by one of our recruiters.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Next we have Ms. Kelly Case.
Just a pretty quick report. I approached the Humane Society of Southeast Texas, and they went to their board and they were very excited that the city of Orange is looking toward this vaccination and intake and taking care of their pets better. And they have designated a code red section on their Facebook, and I believe 2 to 3 of the spots are going to be for the animals either in the orange shelter or that I have pulled and already spayed and neutered. And they took a 120-pound dog that we pulled last few weeks ago and took it to the Humane Society. So they are promoting the same project and excited that we're all working together. So that was a positive. And then I had sort of a funny line. Hugh here has had a litter of kittens born somewhere around him recently. I keep hearing about lots of littering because cats are only in heat in the summer. In the winter, all of them are dropping litters of cats. And that's one of the programs that in Beaumont has been the hugest do, is by doing trap, neuter, and release of the so-called feral cats that are in colonies. Then you return them right back to that place, but they don't litter, they don't spray the tomcat smelling urine, they don't keep expanding, and colonies are sort of self-containing. If you can get them all fixed and they're not sick, then they kind of are self-containing. And I know you have a lot of them in Orange and probably some complaints about them, but limiting the reproduction is great. 2 cats in 10 years make 68,000. So if we can stop them at the source, we make a lot of good. And remember, in my grant, I got 150 cats that we can spay and neuter. So if we get it to where we can get that program going, I can sure stop the littering. So mainly, I just wanted to tell you those 2 things.
But thank you, that's
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to address the council at this time? If not, I will close citizen comments and move to item 5, which is city announcements. Mr. Jay Trading.
Yes, sir. So Mayor and Council, just a few minutes to share that the next big weekend event for the city is scheduled for the weekend of May 3rd through the 5th. On the heels of a very successful Art in the Park Classic Car Show, we're moving forward with an event titled the DSRA, Deep South Racing Association drag boat races at the Sabine River. And in conjunction with that, we'll have Rock the River, which is entertainment driven with food vendors. I do want to acknowledge Devon Williams, our Deputy Director, who isn't available to be with us this evening, as well as Brandy Judice and Allison Clary, who have spent months planning with a lot of moving parts, a lot of logistical planning to make this a very family-oriented, successful event. So it kicks off with Friday night Zydeco concert at the Riverside Pavilion with Keith Frank and his Zydeco band, which is a free admission type concert for the community from 7:30 to 9:30. And Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 6, the DSRA boat races will run again, free admission. And then there will be entertainment throughout the day, Saturday into Saturday evening, with the Saturday headliner band titled Velcro Pygmies, which is an 80s, I think I pronounced it correctly, which is an 80s cover band that we will have in Orange for the first time. And we love trying new things. I mean, we're trying to be creative and bring new opportunities because hotel occupancy tax funds the promotion of arts in the hotel industry. So that's the rationale behind it. Keep in mind, there will be children's activities as well as food vendors throughout the day. In addition to that, I just want to mention that no coolers will be allowed because we want to support the vendors who are there. And then to keep everybody safe, right? And we just talked about animals, we all have them, but no dogs, no pets will be allowed, okay? Other than service animals, of course. But in addition to that, I also want to highlight, to create synergy, that the Depot Day is scheduled for Saturday, May 4th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. downtown Orange to create synergy in terms of with the boat ramp and the Riverside Pavilion. There will be live entertainment, and I've confirmed Paul Birch, our own council member, Mayor Pro Tem, and community players will be in concert, right? As well as the Orange Blossom dancers we saw. And so I think it'll be a great weekend. We're hoping for great weather, and a lot of work has gone into it. So we are creating awareness and making sure that everybody's aware of it and try to join us at some point during the day and the weekend. Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. So thank you.
Hey, what?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Hey, Jay,
Yes, sir.
how far did you have to reach out to get that van?
Well, I can't take the blame or the credit for that because
I'm just inquiring.
it was the entertainment committee and it was a referral from one of our staff members, and matter of fact, 2 staff members now. One who had heard them at Auburn, I think in Alabama, and then the other one was just familiar with it. But I'm not gonna mention any names because if it doesn't go well, I'll take responsibility. But if it goes great, I'm gonna give credit to Devon Williams, Brandon Keys.
Yeah, you can't be. I was born in 1980, so I was still a kid when it was going. So between the Velcro Pygmies and George Michael's Wannabe right here, it's going down. It's going down. So speaking of hotel occupancy, once again, thank y'all for putting that together. A hot ticket item, especially on KOGT and our website. I want to give a shout out to Kelvin Knopf. Kelvin Knopf, you and your crew, Hillary Gravitt for helping, and everyone involved. The Wayfinder signs. A lot of people are coming to our city, and they're like, we don't know what's Orange, Westchester, or Pinehurst. Well, now we have signs, right? And so, thank you for helping us get those installed, and it's definitely a blessing. People think that we're wasting taxpayer money, but if you go to church, you find out what the preacher's saying, right? If you go to school, you find out what the teacher's saying. But if you want to find out what's going on in the city, you gotta come ask. And so, we did not burn taxpayer money, but we got a chance to use some different funding for that. And so hopefully we'll be able to find some more opportunities here in the future. So thank y'all, regardless of the silliness on Facebook, okay? All right, next we will move to, yes, great job. Next we will move to, oh man, this is awesome. This is like the safest I ever feel every year when we do Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month. We hear y'all coming like 2 miles down the road. Ms. Hennigan messaged me and said, here they come, we heard them. So Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month, proclamation from Office of the Mayor from the City of Orange. Whereas freedom of the open road is an image that reflects the American spirit, and few images portray the essence of that spirit better than a motorcycle and the open road. And whereas motorcycles have been an integral part of our military and our police forces for generations, and whereas in Southeast Texas, motorcycles are a means of transportation and recreation for many, and whereas all drivers can take proactive measures to improve motorcycle safety, namely allow for greater following distances when behind motorcycles, yield the right-of-way when appropriate, and take caution at intersections where most motorcycle collisions occur. And whereas motorcycle safety is the responsibility of all drivers, those in vehicles and those on motorcycles. And whereas all drivers should look twice, share the road, and not drive distracted. And whereas during the month of May, businesses, organizations, and government entities come together to raise awareness of motorcycle safety in hopes of reducing motorcycle-related collisions and fatalities. And whereas to promote safer roads for all travelers, we must share the road, obey traffic laws, and watch out for motorcyclists. Now therefore, I, Larry Spruce Jr., Mayor of the City of Orange, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2024 as Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month in the City of Orange, and urge all citizens to join in encouraging the entire community to become more aware of motorcyclists and share the road, while becoming extra alert while driving to support motorcycle safety. Congratulations. And if y'all want to stay so we can feel safe a little bit longer. That'd be fun. Y'all come on in all the time. Don't bite.
Look at all that, it makes me get one. I wonder why, you know.
You gotta get tight like you like it, so.
There you go.
Keep them on the street there.
You get a good stuff.
I would like on behalf of Cowboy Harley Davidson, Harley Owner Group, call group 5298. We definitely appreciate it. Our goal is incident and accident free as far as motorcycle safety. Too many people get killed on motorcycles. It's for education on our part and also on the motor's part. We would like all the support from the mayor. Thank you so much. Councilman, thank you. May 4th, I know there's a lot of things going on in Orange, but May 4th, we're going to have our third annual 500 for Life. Mayor, I'd like to welcome you. I'd like to welcome all you councilors. Come out and enjoy. We're going to have a great band. Robin's got it lined up, the Crossroads Band. And come meet some of the people that ride those motorcycles. You will be surprised. There's doctors, there's lawyers, and there's even people like me out there. So we just love the freedom of motorcycles. And I'll let Robin go ahead. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We just so appreciate you taking the time to recognize this important day. It kicks off in May, but we need to be aware year-round. Look twice before you do anything. It's at those intersections, that's where it happens. But we are gonna start at Cowboy Power Sports with breakfast and a short program, and then we're gonna end up at Cowboy Harley after they go for a ride. We're gonna have music by Crossroads, good food, and lots of fun and fellowship. So please join us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, fellow Orange residents. I know lots of y'all born and raised here. Thank you, Mayor, Paul, Brad, council members, for this every year. You know, it's a passion of mine. I've rode all my life, since I was a kid. There's too many of us being buried. There's too many funerals going on, and it's a very sad case when people don't watch and look twice to save a life. So that's all we're asking for. Just share the road with us. You know, we know there's some motorcycles out there that don't do what they're supposed to, but there are very few of them. The majority of us are just as good drivers as anybody on the highway. We're just asking for y'all. I would also bring up that this weekend, the 4th largest motorcycle rally in Texas is taking place here in Southeast Texas, that I put on every year in Silsbee. So you're gonna look at 2,000 to 3,000 motorcycles being on our roads this weekend, filling up our hotels, restaurants, gas stations for Thursday to Sunday. So, be extra aware this weekend. Gonna be a lot of us out there.
All right.
We always thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Edmund Frederick from Mauriceville. They call it Orange. Lived in Mauriceville my whole life till I put a mailbox in front of the house, and I live in Orange. Folks, everybody gives the thumbs up when it's good. Next time you see a motorcycle, you're sitting at an intersection, you see that motorcycle coming, stick that thumb up there like that, and you don't see the motorcycle anymore. It's that simple. A police officer showed me you can do it with an ink pen. Hold an ink pen at arm's length. You can't see that motorcycle. I encourage all the motorcycle riders, ride with your high beams on. If they say, hey, hey, and they hit the high beams, that means they see you. Okay, you can do the courtesy deal then. It's just a safety measure for yourself. Some of us have reminders that they didn't see the motorcycle. Break out of live. 5 leg surgeries, 2 brain surgeries. We've lost too many brothers, like J.W. and Robert said. Too many funerals. One man that sat right there beside me at these meetings wasn't here last year. Person pulled dead out in front of him. 3 seconds. You see the motorcycle, you think, I can make that. Humor yourself, humor everybody else. 3 seconds, just count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow, you'd kill that person. It's that simple. That's all we ask, just watch and realize, yeah, we took it on ourselves. We're out there, we're not strapped in a cage. We chose that. But we didn't sign up to die that way. You know, we realized we assumed the risk. Thanks for your time. God bless all of you.
Thank you.
Grab them up on the way out now.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. God bless all of you.
That's beautiful.
Thank
Free
you.
Saturday, brother.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. God bless you. Great. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Okay, item 7, consent agenda, March 12th, 2024, Orange Economic Development Corporation meeting minutes, and April 9th, 2024, regular city council meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Mr. Burge?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Item 8A, final reading. Consider an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orange, Texas, amending Chapter 12, Planning and Zoning of the City of Orange Code of Ordinances by adding Article 12.3000, massage establishments, providing a severability clause, repealing all ordinance in conflict with this ordinance, providing a penalty clause, providing an effective date, and other matters. First reading was on April 9th of 2024. Mr. Knopf.
Mayor, if I could back up just a minute on the Wayfinder signs, I'd like to thank Hillary Babbitt for her work, and also James Lawrence from the Public Works Department, and then also Tabby Key and Jay DeVille from the Start Foundation. It was a cooperative venture between the city and the Start Foundation.
Yes, sir, thank
We
you.
really appreciate all of their work.
Yes, sir, thank you.
On this ordinance, this is the second reading of the ordinance. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey? Mr. Childs? Mr. Birch? And Ms. Hannity?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. On to item 8B. Consider an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orange, Texas, amending the rules of procedure for the Historic Preservation Commission, repealing all ordinances in conflict to the extent of any conflict, and providing for a severability clause and establishing an effective date. Mr. Knopf.
The Historical Preservation Commission has rules of procedure that the City Council adopted by ordinance several years ago. When, the Planning and Zoning Commission has their rules of procedure, and the Board of Adjustments has their rules of procedures also. So the three advisory boards, they each have their own rules of procedure. The Historic Preservation Commission has been looking at their rules of procedures and are recommending some changes to those rules. One of the changes is to establish procedure by which the chair or a commission member can place items on the agenda. There's currently no procedure for that. And the procedure that they're recommending is very similar to what the City Council uses whenever you want to place items on our City Council agenda. So anyway, that's one of the proposals. And council may even want to consider at some point extending those rules, to all the advisory boards, where we're consistent across the city about how can boards and commissions, put items on their own agendas. Another one is that it allows the director, it allows me or future directors to approve emergency repairs to a structure in a historic district. And we had a situation where a lady had a big hole in her porch and everything, but under the current ordinance, then that would have had to go before the planning or the Historical Preservation Commission. And so that was almost 30 days before that. So after that, then it's their recommendation that I be allowed or my successors be allowed on an emergency basis to go ahead and approve repairs, where they wouldn't have to wait to go before the commission. And then also they have considered, right now what we do whenever we have a substandard structure, we take that to a hearing in front of the hearing officer, who also serves as the municipal court judge. And if he orders it demolished, then if it's in the historic district, then we take that to the Historic Preservation Commission for a certificate of appropriateness. And then the Historical Preservation Commission looked at that, considered that. If it's already been ordered demolished, the only thing they can do, if they deny the certificate of appropriateness, then the building just sits there and deteriorates and keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So it's their recommendation that if the hearing officer has ordered the building to be demolished, that doesn't need to go before the Historical Preservation Commission anymore. And the Board of the Historic Preservation Commission has reviewed these proposed rules and they recommend approval.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to have the responsibility of, if someone wants, if it's deemed it to be demolished, they don't want to deal with that?
Right. Yeah, the hearing officer goes through a regular procedure, and it goes to the hearing officer. If he decides that, it is in violation of the city's ordinance and needs to be demolished, then it doesn't need to go before the Historical Preservation Commission.
They couldn't stop it anyway. So
That's it essentially.
And as
Yeah,
far
it's
as
just
the
kind of an unnecessary step.
For the director, for the emergency, is there guidelines that say what is deemed an
We've
emergency?
talked about that, if it threatens the health or safety of the occupant or the general public, then that's what's defined as an
As an
emergency.
emergency, okay.
If it's just a,
Well, that's
aesthetic
important,
kind of
because
thing,
that's
that's
the
not an
purpose of-
emergency. If it's just, they want to change the columns on the fort from, square to round or whatever, that's not an emergency. But, if there's emergency repairs due to a storm or a fire or whatever, then, there's no need in delaying, to go ahead and fix those.
Thank you for explaining.
Thank
that.
you.
I'll make a motion.
second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey? Mr. Childs? Mr. Birch?
Aye.
Ms. Henning?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Knopf.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8C, consider an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orange, Texas, amending the City of Orange Code of Ordinances, Chapter 6, Article 6.400, smoking in its entirety, establishing a severability clause, repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance, providing a penalty clause, providing an effective date, and other matters. Mr. Knopf.
Yes, our smoking ordinance was actually adopted back in 1982, and that ordinance prohibited smoking in city buildings and city vehicles, whether they were leased or owned. And so back in 1982, we'd never heard of vaping. You know, we didn't have the little vape payments and all that other kind of stuff. So in looking at the ordinance, then it's our recommendation that we update it. And what this ordinance does is it prohibits operation of an electronic smoking device in addition to smoking in a city building, facility, or city-owned or leased vehicle. It makes changes to the various sections in the ordinance that only refers to smoking by adding operation of an electronic smoking device, or vaping, to that. It's not just smoking, but vaping as well in the different sections. And then it allows the city manager to designate areas outside of city buildings or facilities as smoking or vaping areas, as long as that area is at least 15 feet from any entrance into the building, because you don't want smoke from outside the building coming into the building, or vapors coming outside the building and into the building. And then it revises the penalty section. Right now, the penalty section that says it's a penalty as provided by law. And so we rewrote that to refer to the specific section in the Code of Ordinances that levies the fees for fines. And then it also adds definitions for the city, meaning the city of Orange, electronic smoking device, and smoking. The current ordinance doesn't define smoking. So, and then there's some grammatical changes also in the ordinance. So, anyway, this is presented for your consideration.
Okay. We're gonna see more and more of this because vaping is very popular, even though it's really, really bad and very, very dangerous. I had a 33-year-old cousin that I lost due to vaping. Young, very energetic, basketball player, fit, and died from vaping.
And
They're worse than cigarettes.
They are.
I might just point out there are certain public areas, if you're standing in line, at a service line or whatever, at a business or whatever, then the current ordinance, the smoking ordinance, you can't smoke in line if you're at like a business, at a restaurant or a cafeteria or whatever. You can't do that now. It doesn't prohibit you having a seat at the restaurant and smoking, but there are some things like that that are continued in this proposed ordinance, and also if you're vaping, you can't vape in a line at a cafeteria, for instance.
Right.
All right, thank you.
It's good. It's good, real good.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion, second, and a third. All right, Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Mr. Birch? Mr. Childs? Mr. Bailey? Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Knopf. All right, item 8D, consider an ordinance amending the adopted budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, and ending on September 30th, 2024, in accordance with the charter of the City of Orange, Texas. Ms. Zito.
Yeah, so every year, actually twice a year, we go through the budget amendments and our line item transfers that the city staff has to do to keep our budgets in line. And so I prepare a summary for y'all. On page 39, you'll see all the different funds and the amendments, the first amendment proposed that we've done. And then that's just the summary, but on the next page, 40, I list them out and I give explanations. So a budget amendment is when we're taking money out of our reserves, which is our savings, so to speak. So, but it's not always that we're just using our reserves. Most of these, except one in the general fund, are because we didn't finish a project. So if we budgeted our project last year and we didn't finish it, I have to do a budget amendment to roll that money into the new year. So that's a budget amendment. That's the majority of these. So there's only one in the general fund that was not. It's only $5,000.
It was for, some new flooring at City Hall and the office space that we rent out. And the water and sewer fund, they were all rolled forward. The sanitation fund, we did have to take $100,000 out of the reserves because of the IP closed, the plant closed, is where we took our green waste. So now we have to pay for it. So we had to, the budget needed some money, so we have to pay for that. So that budget is for that. And, tourism, the CBB fund, we took 82,000 out of the reserves for the Riverside Pavilion fixing the entrance. Council voted for that, and we used reserves for that. But other than that, everything else is just, to roll budgets forward, line item transfers moving from one item to another, and that's just our normal process for those. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Do we have a lot of rollovers? I can't really remember all of that over time is time, but is it best for us to start really kind of making maybe deadlines or something within your budget to keep you from having to, if it's a problem, having to roll over like that?
Well, it's just a timing thing. They never know when their project won't be finished.
Oh, okay.
Or they order an item and it doesn't come in.
Oh,
Or,
yeah,
I mean,
can see that.
It's more of a timing thing, so it's not a problem.
Oh.
That's why we bring these to you twice a year. I gather them up and, so that the city can still function.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Ms. Ito? Okay, if not, do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
Mr. Birch? And Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Ito. Item 9A, consider a resolution reaffirming ordinance 1996-6, providing for homestead exemptions on ad valorem property taxes for the taxable year of 2024. Ms. Ito.
Yes, so every year we have to reaffirm this, and currently we grant 20% homestead exemption to all citizens, and an additional 15,000 for 65 and older or disabled. You don't get both of those, but you will get the 15,000 plus your 20%. And we have to reaffirm this, have to send it to the tax assessor collector.
All right, any questions or comments? Now a motion?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Mr. Birch?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
And Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Ito. Item 10A, considering motion acknowledging receipt of the Orange Economic Development Corporation's annual financial report and audit report as presented by Brooks and Watson and Company for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2023. Ms. Ito.
Right, so this motion is just to acknowledge receipt of the EDC audit report that which we presented, our auditor presented earlier at the board meeting. We're not gonna go over that again unless y'all want to.
I think we're good on that one. I'm gonna get you a chair too. You're gonna be up here a while. All right, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
Mr. Birch?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Item 10B, consider a motion acknowledging receipt of the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2023, as presented by Brooks and Watson and Company, PLLC, as required by section 3.14 of the charter of the city of Orange. Ms. Ito.
So we have completed the city's audit of our financials, and Mike Brooks is here to present our audit report.
Thank you, Cheryl. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Mike Brooks, Audit Partner with Brooks Watson and Company CPAs. And as Cheryl mentioned, I will be presenting you with your annual comprehensive financial report. Comprehensive section is what makes this report so much thicker than the EDC's report. There is a lot of information in here that I'm going to touch on. But I have prepared a summary presentation, and this presentation is going to go over some of the more important numbers and statements within your comprehensive financial report. But then I'll open it up to questions, and if you'd like me to touch on anything specific, I'd be happy to go into detail. All right. First, I just want to give a brief overview of the audit process. The audit can be broken into 3 general phases. First is the planning and risk assessment phase. This occurs prior to year end, so sometime typically during the summer, we call this our interim process. Where we're sitting down, talking to Cheryl, talking to various department heads, trying to figure out what's been going on during the year, walking through all of their processes and evaluating the internal controls, good internal controls. Hopefully good internal controls are in place at the time. If they're not, we're going to be testing them a little bit more thoroughly. But from that process, we walk away with a good understanding of what's occurred during the year and where we're going to spend the extent of our audit procedures for that year with our preliminary audit plan. The next stage is the bulk of what we do. This is the year-end field work. So this occurs after after year-end has been closed, all the accounts have been reconciled, all accruals have been made, all adjusting entries that the city's posting have been made. We are coming in and auditing all revenues, expenditures, and assets and liabilities citywide across all funds. So if a transaction does meet our scope or threshold, we are auditing it in some form or fashion. The final stage is the conclusion and reporting. This is the wrap-up of any findings or recommendations that we get at, providing our journal entries to the city and bringing the accounts into accordance with GAAP, and the preparation of the report itself and the presentation of that report and acceptance of the Next, I just want to go over the components of the report. It is a very lengthy report. First, we have the introductory section, followed by the financial section, which includes the auditor's opinion, management's discussion and analysis, financial statements, notes to the financial statements, supplementary information, and next we have the statistical section. One thing I want to point out here is that the city has prepared a comprehensive financial report. There is a lot of very useful information in this report that is not required, so it is an option to the city. It's not something that all cities are capable of producing, and to accumulate a lot of information and track the information correctly. But for the reader, it does provide a lot of value. So the city should be commended for preparing this report. In addition, the report is submitted to the GFOA. The GFOA and a team of reviewers will review this report to make sure it's in accordance with their policies and potentially issue what's called a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The city did receive this award last year. This current report will be submitted for evaluation as well. And the city has received this award for 31 consecutive years, which so,
that's what we do. Good job, Ms. Zito. Mike said you did an extra slice of pizza at the next party.
Yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah, and we're I typically give thanks to the accounting department at the end, but Cheryl has done a great job for us. We love working with her, and books are always in great shape. We have very few adjustments that we're required to propose to bring these accounts into accordance with GAAP, and that's a direct reflection on how well the books are kept in that. So we do appreciate it. All right, next thing I want to point out on this page here is our auditor's opinion. We consider this to be probably the most important part of your report. This is our contribution. So this can have a few possible outcomes, the best being an unmodified audit opinion, and the worst being an adverse audit opinion. We're happy to say that we have issued a clean, unmodified audit opinion on the city's financials. So this is the highest level of assurance that we can give that these financial statements are free of any material misstatement, and all footnotes are disclosed. All right, next, I just want to point out several financial highlights. As of the end of the year, total assets, citywide assets, exceeded total liabilities by approximately $95.9 million. This was an increase of about $7 million from the prior year. Your governmental funds that exclude your water and sewer and sanitation funds reported a combined ending fund balance of $23.7 million. This was a decrease of about $2 million related to capital projects and some grant expenditures. Your unassigned fund balance within your general fund totaled $18.7 million, which equated to 71% of your annual general fund expenditures. And your net pension liabilities, which include your TMRS and firefighter pensions, total $11.9 million and just over $9 million, respectively. Okay, next is a summary of your governmental activities revenue. So this is total revenues consolidated, excluding your water and sewer funds and sanitation. Total revenues were $35.1 million. This was an increase of about $1.7 million from the prior year. The three largest being property taxes totaled $9.6 million, at an increase of $557,000. Sales taxes totaled $6.2 million, an increase about $1.4 million. And your payments in lieu of taxes, or your industrial contract payments, totaled $10.5 million, an increase of about $1.5 million from the prior year. Next is a summary of your total governmental expenses. Total expenses for the year were $30.8 million. This was an increase of about $6 million. I'll touch on why that was such a big number in a minute. Public safety expenses totaled $15 million, $15.2, an increase of about $3.2 million. A big piece of this increase here is related to the firefighter pension. There was an adjustment of the discount rates, which is tied to the bond rate, and as interest rates go up, liability is going to go up, and this is where it's reflected in your statement of activity. So that's the primary cause for that big jump. Your general government expenses totaled $4.5 million, had an increase of about $587,000. Your public works expenses totaled $7.6 million, an increase of about $1.3 million. Next is a statement of your revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for your governmental funds. The numbers I want to focus on here are your increase or decrease in fund balance for the year. So starting from the left, your general fund had an increase. So you added to fund balance this year within your general fund by about $2.3 million. Your GLO grant fund had a decrease of $351,000. That's to be expected with your special revenue funds that are tied to grants. Whenever you have grant revenue come in, the expenditures typically occur over the subsequent years. Same with the U.S. Treasury AM Rescue Plan Fund, American Rescue Plan Act, had a decrease of $3.9 million, so that was spent for that grant program this year. And your non-major governmental funds had a slight decrease of $25,000. The next number I want to point out is your ending fund balance for your general fund, and more importantly, the unassigned portion. So the portion that is available for any future unplanned expenditures or reservations, but you do have it at your disposal for potential decreases in revenue or anything unexpected. But the city does want to maintain an adequate balance here. The GFOA recommends anything above 15 to 16% for about 2 months. So that's your floor. So you really don't want to get below that. If you are, you're kind of in trouble. At the end of the year, the city's unassigned fund balance totaled just under $7 million, which equated to 71%, or about 9 months of your annual general expenditures. So certainly in a healthy position. Next, when you compare that to the city's policy, the city has a formal policy that you should maintain at least a 30% unassigned balance. When we looked at the last 3 years, the city had 71 for the current year, 70, and 69. So you guys are certainly in great financial shape. Next is a budget to actual for your general fund. The column on the left are your final budget numbers. So this is after any amendments. You did budget for a slight final budget, slight decrease in fund balance of about $10,000, a little under $11,000. Your actual results had an increase of $2.3 million, which was primarily due to expenditures that you did not spend. So you came in under budget on your expenditures by about $2.7 million, and you had you came in under your revenue of about $570,000 as well. But overall, you had a positive budget variance of about $2.3 million. So a healthy fiscal year from a budgetary perspective. Next, a summary of your revenues, expenses, and changes in net position for your water and sewer and sanitation funds. These funds do differ from your governmental funds in that they should be self-supported. So they should have rates that are set at a level that do fund operations, debt service, and any capital improvements. So if these funds are losing money over time, it's typically an indication that something's wrong. Some operational issue, typically it's going to be a rate issue. So I do want to point out this year, the water and sewer fund had an increase of about $2.6 million for capital contributions, and your sanitation fund had an increase of $151,000. So no operational or rate issues noted, and both funds were in good shape. Okay, so that does conclude my presentation. Like I said, if you had any questions or wanted me to touch on anything specific, I'd be happy to do so.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments? Well, thank you for this report, and thank you, of course, we had the EDC one first earlier this evening. It's just remarkable to continuously have such great results and the hard work from Ms. Zito and her department. So, once again, congratulations, thank you, Ms. Zito. And I know we have work to do this year. We've seen some changes already, so, but we always find a way to rise above. So, if we have no questions or comments, we have a motion. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Salter? Ms. McKenna? Mr. Bailey? Mr. Giles? Mr. Birch? Ms. Hennigan? Okay, motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Item 10C, consider a motion acknowledging the receipt of the Orange Economic Development Corporation financial report for the quarter ending March 31st, 2024. Ms. Zito.
So this is the EDC's financial report that we reported earlier at the EDC board meeting. Any questions?
Right. Any questions or comments?
Motion?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay, Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Mr. Birch?
Aye.
Mr. Childs? Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Ms. McKenna? Ms. Salter? Okay, motion passes. On to item 10D, consider a motion acknowledging receipt of the Orange Economic Development Corporation investment report for the quarter ending March 31st, 2024. Ms. Zito.
Same, this is the EDC's investment report, and we reported earlier at the EDC board.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, if not, do I have a motion?
Motion?
Do we have a motion and a second? Ms. Salter? Ms. McKenna? Mr. Bailey? Mr. Childs? Mr. Birch? Ms. Hennigan? Okay, motion passes. Item 10E, consider a motion acknowledging receipt of the city's quarterly investment report for the period ending March 31st, 2024. Ms. Zito.
This is the city's investment report. It's starting on page 86 of your packet. So the total cash investments is $42,514,000. Our average rate of return right now on the city's funds is 4.39. We're still doing really well compared to where we were. We're just below the benchmark. We use the 6-month treasury bill as our benchmark. It's currently, we're at, March 31st is at 5.07. So we're right below it, so I feel comfortable with our investment because we're still using the sweep account at Wells Fargo, which works very well for us. And the city is in compliance with all of our investment policies, and we're going to continue to monitor that, and hopefully the rates will go down. We'll watch it.
All right,
If you have
thank
any
you.
questions, I'll be
Any questions? Okay, if not, do I have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Mr. Birch? Mr. Childs? Mr. Bailey? Ms. McKenna? Ms. Salter? Okay, motion passes. Item 10F. Consider a motion acknowledging the annual review and adoption of the purchasing policy for the city of Orange. Ms. Zito.
So, last council meeting, I believe we approved some, or reviewed some policies because we had to change some wording and do some stuff for grants. This is another one. So the purchasing policy is our policy, how we, the rules we gotta follow to purchase things. And we have guidelines, and there's a whole section on federal grant guidelines. So with our current grants, changes happen and they ask us to add some more language. So the new language is in section 15, and it starts on page 114, but it's just more working language from lawyers for the grants, and we had to do that to comply with our grants.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments?
Second?
Can we have a motion and a second? Ms. Salter? Ms. McKenna? Mr. Bailey? Mr. Childs? Mr. Birch? Ms. Hennigan? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Zito. Item 10G, discussion regarding fiscal year 2025 recreation center programs. Mr. Jack.
Good evening, council. I'm here to discuss the recreational program for 2025. And it's a little bit of ways off. We're getting ready to move into budget season, but we see some things going on with the rec center that we want to bring to your attention so that you can give us a little bit of thought before we do enter into the budget season itself. Currently, the recreation program, we've got the building open approximately a little bit more than 50 hours a week for
8:30 in the morning until 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. There's 20+ scheduled activities per week. We've got about 7 tournaments scheduled for the year. The operating budget for the staff, excluding utilities and debt service, is about $345,000 a year right now. However, as we're moving into 2025, the services division, of which the recreation center resides, we're starting to see some fall in general revenue funds. We've seen an escalation in fleet costs, maintenance costs of the facilities that we have. So our facilities are getting older, but we're also adding amenities, and those amenities require additional maintenance as well. As a result, we're anticipating right now that we're going to need to look at reducing or adding revenue to cover about a 10% shortfall at the recreation center this coming year. One of the questions we get asked right up front when we start talking about budget is, why can't the rec center be self-sufficient, sort of like our water and sewer utilities? Well, if you take the $345,000 of just operating budget, and that doesn't include utilities, debt service, anything like that, we need 265 people a day to visit and pay $5 a day to cover that cost. Currently, we've got about 125 to 175 people using it per week. It's not an even split between youth and adults. The number one activity right now is pickleball, probably followed by walking, and then basketball, volleyball, and then soccer. Most of the tournaments that we've approached this past year, talked to them about coming to the rec center. A lot of those tournament folks are looking for a low cost venue. Most of them use a church facility or something along that line where their costs are almost zero to use those facilities. We're continuing to work that side of the house. But there's always a challenge because most of those tournaments wish to use a weekend to do that work. And most of our youth that want to use the facility will use it on the weekend. So we've got a little bit of a challenge. We are offering you 2 things to think about, both sides of the spectrum. Number one, establish a revenue source so that we can keep the program as it is now. Overall, that would keep us where we are budget-wise, maintain the staff of 10 that we have and the operations budget that we have. But it's going to mean finding $34,000 in some fee or use or membership or whatever the case may be. But we'll need to find about $34,000 from an external source to enter into the system and add revenue. The other option is obviously to reduce what we provide. To go down that route, we anticipate probably going to a 40 hours per week, open the rec center a little bit later. 15 scheduled activities, obviously. Fewer hours mean fewer activities. Reduce the amount of tournaments, and that, as a result, means we need a little bit fewer staff, a little bit less operational costs. So we wanted to bring this to you to give you an opportunity to think about it. There's no action required. There's no recommendation from staff at this point in time. But as we're entering into that budget season, we know this is a big topic for the community. We want to put it on the radar to give it some thought. And with that, I entertain any questions that you might have.
Any questions or comments? Okay, so I have some. All right, so here's what I think. So I've heard about we know we have to make some cuts for next year, and I know we have. So I think there's several options. I see the ones we have, and I agree we may have to make some cuts in time. And so, not to be rude, but I'm just going to be honest. Like, do we need that many people up there, that many hours per day? Are they really working that much? So we have to reduce. That may be what we have to do. With the events, there's been times when we've given ideas, and maybe we need to take a different approach as far as sponsorships. So right now we have Dow, GTP, and other entities involved. You sell a wall. Hey, with selling this wall for $15,000 a year, it says Dow. $15,000 a year, it says GTP. We find ways to utilize it. I think that we can maybe bring some more things out there by having food trucks, maybe some kind of an event. But I do think it could be a mix of all of those, like the options, maybe cut some hours, but also still try to find some events that can bring in some money, and then maybe even find some corporate sponsorships, because I know I work for Dow, and in working with Dow, we were able to get employees, or the Dow employees now utilize the rec center. So maybe go get the GTBs and the Lyondale elastomers and see what other entities would be interested in buying in and using our facility. So I think there's several avenues, but I thank you for bringing it to our attention, because this is very near and dear to my heart. I know that God showed us this, and like I always say, if we keep one kid off the streets or out of the judicial system, then we're doing our job. So definitely maybe we have to maybe sit down and look at this to a little bit further. We give a whole special meeting or whatever to this. Whatever you think we need to do, let's do
Feedback is greatly appreciated. That's why we wanted to bring it to you now.
Yes.
So that all the council can give it some thought and give us some feedback. As obviously, I think we'll have some sort of hybrid answer at the end of the day.
Because right now my daughter's not in volleyball season, but we were driving to Katy every other weekend and spending $70 to get in the door, and then another $100 on all my kids wanting hot dogs and snacks. And so my thing is, if somebody's doing it, we got to get off our butts and make sure we're doing it. Some guy, not saying you or the staff, but like, let's figure it out. Because I spend money on gas, getting in, and food on some funky hot dogs. I know we can do something like that here.
Find an answer, Mr.
We're going to find it. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying let us help you.
If you start cutting the hours, then you're reducing the use of the facility.
Right.
Right now, we have 125 to 175 a day.
Right.
That's not bad.
It's a week.
It's a week.
175 a week.
A week.
Well, still not bad.
But that's a great point. If you reduce the hours, you reduce the opportunity to generate revenue.
You're gonna cut your nose off about your face, so to speak.
Mhm.
Right?
But if you have to get through to that next part is what I'm saying. Like, so we don't need 4 people sitting there when the ladies are walking in the morning is what I'm getting at, right? Like if we only need 2 or 1 to really be there and actually be there, then that's better than 3 or 4 with 1 working the door, 1 watching them walk, and the other 2, doing their daily
I've
stuff.
been down there playing a little bit of that.
Battle ball.
Silly.
Did you win?
Hell yeah.
How you? There's a politician for you right there, baby. But no, thank you, Mr. Jack.
You're welcome.
This is something we want to know ahead of time.
Absolutely.
So
We
thank you.
still owe you and I one-on-one on ground ball. Remember
Let's
that?
see, and we got Acadian right there, ready to go. All right, item 10H, discussion of authorizing a property tax exemption for eligible child care facilities as allowed by section 1R to article 8 of the Texas Constitution. Mr. Coons.
Mayor, council, as y'all may be aware from reading the information in the packet, last fall, the voters in the state of Texas approved an amendment to the Constitution that would allow counties and cities to offer a property tax exemption to child care facilities, anywhere from 50 to 100% of that amount. Recently, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of wasn't high on my radar, didn't really pay attention to all those different things that happened at the state level. But a couple of weeks ago or so, we got an email from a legislative aide or intern for the state senator who helped sponsor some of that, and also started seeing some news articles with people talking about this. There's been some conversation locally. I know Jefferson County approved through their commissioners court 50% tax abatement. Now, not all, obviously, if you're already affiliated, if you're a child care facility affiliated with the church, churches don't pay property tax anyway. I believe there is one, and there's a couple other things that you have to be eligible in regards to this. I believe there's one facility in the city of Orange that can qualify under this. The rest are associated with the church. But again, before we kind of go too far, I want to get y'all's thoughts on if this is something we want to do, and perhaps at what level we might want to offer.
Any comments or questions?
We should offer them something.
I think so.
If it's allowable, we can help them out. I say yes. I'm not sure what level just yet, but
Definitely help them out, for sure.
I
do you
mean,
have a recommendation on how much or?
Jefferson County is 50%. You know, I reached out to a handful, not everybody, counterparts in some other cities, you know, we're just talking about it, so.
Okay.
There's probably a lot of the income that comes in for the child care, they're on fixed incomes, the people that are actually paying them, you know? So, is it a true lucrative, I mean, it's needed, but is it a lucrative, true business?
I mean, this is a services offered to help working
Trying to help.
adults.
That's correct.
So is there a way, like if we get, like if you say it's 50%, are you able to get numbers and come back and show us what could possibly be saved?
Well,
Or do we just,
roughly, the one that I believe is eligible, Donna's New Beginnings, and I'm not saying all of it, but it looks like about, their taxable value is about $700,000. Anyway, it'd save them about $5,000 a year.
oh, and that's 50%?
That'd be 100%.
If we were to do them, give them 100%,
Right.
like you said Jefferson County is doing 50 for right now? Okay. I mean, anybody got any questions, comments on that?
Just sure when we do this, that the owners pass it back down to the families that need it.
That's
And
correct.
the grandchildren that are having, my daughter has a hard time getting a job, that makes it work putting the children in childcare.
That's
So we
right.
give benefit to the owners. And I just would hope that God's grace, they would pass it on down.
Would we be able, would this have a first and second reading as well?
Yeah, now, again, this is
It's just discussion. So let's put it on the agenda item as 50% and maybe find out we can welcome Donna's New Beginnings or whoever else is within our city limits to see what they say. Because it might also help us, you might like that.
Well, you know, she will say, I need 100%.
That's
I
good.
would. Somebody asked me what I want on it at all.
But we
But if
didn't
we
talk
can-
about what Brad said.
I agree with what Brad said, but you have to be
That's
careful that we can't use that to try to pressure the business owner. I don't think when they change the Constitution and give us the right to mandate how they,
We
Use
can't make
the
them
money.
but I think it's a good idea that somebody go, you know, if we do this for y'all, you need to pass that on.
That's why I said, by God's grace, I would hope they would do the right thing and pass it down. You can't make them.
I don't think there's anything wrong with
Maybe
it.
move it down.
I don't think
But
there's
what's wrong
anybody,
with talking?
I don't think there's anything wrong with anybody going by and saying, look, this, the city council talking about doing this, if you get that, you need to make sure that you pass it on down the line.
Oh, what's their thoughts on it? What's their thoughts on it? If we do something like that, how do they feel about it? What does it mean to them?
But you have to be careful.
I mean, if you ask them, what does it mean to them? You know,
That's why I say if we can bring one of them in and just ask, like, what would the benefits
that's
be?
right.
Whenever I go to a council meeting,
It's one of those things where we always get tore up for not asking the people who are affected, so if we can bring this in and then invite them, if they don't come, then they don't come, but at least send an email or a message of invitation.
Because it helps us as well.
Mhm, so we can
It helps us
understand.
understand. And make a,
It's a two-edged sword.
Mhm.
It's, if we don't do it, families will be saying you didn't help us.
That's right, that's why I said, let's bring them in and ask them and then go from there.
right.
So let's go forward with bringing them in,
That's-
or not bringing them in, but inviting them to come in, and then if not, we'll just I'll even go by there and even ask and say, what's the possibilities and what can we see if this were to happen?
Yes.
And it just may make them able to function better. I know that my daycare payment is high. I'm about to start selling fried bologna sandwiches. So, I definitely will see if we can make something work. So it's just a discussion, so nothing, no vote, but definitely see about extending a hand of gratitude as they come on out. Let's see what we can do. Okay, all right. City manager report, Big Mike.
Mayor, council, hey, reminder, so first of all, we have 3 weeks in between council meetings by the luck of the calendar. So the next council meeting is Tuesday, May, my hand scratch looks like the 14th at 9 a.m. This is the second Tuesday of the month, regardless of what my poor penmanship may read. Now, it's a little different, that is 9 a.m., a little different this year since we did not have to have a municipal election. So on that meeting, we will swear in the mayor and Mr. Chandler to their positions. Of course, like we always do when we do that, we'll, be a little loose, allow people to bring family or friends and take pictures and all that kind of good stuff. So that should be a fun time. But then also, during that meeting, we will have election for the mayor pro tem. So give that some thought also. And that's all I have.
Be my last meeting.
Yeah, hold on, baby.
We're gonna miss you, brother.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. City council report, starting with Ms. McKenna.
Oh, I just want to invite everybody to St. Mary's School this weekend on Saturday. They're having a festival fundraiser, and it'll be, it's my alma mater, so come on down and have a good time. There'll be crawfish and bake sales and auctions and all kinds of good stuff.
What time?
9 o'clock, starts at 9.
Okay, thank you.
No report.
No one working.
No recording.
Yes, you do. You got your Facebook.
No.
It's gonna be on POGT tomorrow.
You were there? You were there?
3 weeks ago.
Oh,
But I was trying to sell cars.
really?
All right, Mr. Bailey.
No, I just have a question.
Mhm.
What happened to your hair?
Oh, God. Jesus. Ms. Salter.
No comment.
No comment. Baby, this is your last one before the comment. You don't have nothing like.
I've enjoyed my time here most of the time. It depends on who you sit next to. Other than that.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
I've enjoyed myself working with the city. Mike and attorney over there, hiding his face. I don't know what he's hiding his face for, but over hiding his face. And Ms. Zito, Mr. Zito. All of you, I've enjoyed it.
So I do want to say, before I go into this, I do want to say thank you, Mr. Bailey, for serving. I know you will be here at least one more time, but just want to say thank you for serving.
Appreciate it.
Yep, we definitely had several really good one-on-ones. It was the only time I thought I was gonna get body slammed by a fellow council member, but we got through it. And so, but it's awesome because I love them and I really respect and appreciate you. So thank you for all you've done for this community, and we know you're not going anywhere. You'll just be sitting up there.
Well, then I may sit, grab another chair these days.
There you go, right? There you go. Challenge somebody.
That's right.
The thing that I wanted to bring up real quick, so I would like to ask staff, Mike, so with what we were talking about earlier with the substandard buildings, if we could work with Kelvin's department to maybe have a special item on one of our next agendas where we fully talk about the process of the substandards, the demolition and how it works. The reason why is we had an uproar that took place on social media, and it was about homes that were for sale that were considered substandard. And so before I go and speak with several realtors about what we're doing and our next steps forward, I would like to maybe have a real good presentation so that when I speak with them, to let them understand what we as the city of Orange are doing, that we all understand what we're doing. We've had several issues where the homes were sold and then we have people coming here begging us to help them out, and then it's not really anything that we had anything to do with. So if we can maybe talk about it, make sure we all have an understanding, and then that way we're moving forward and on to the next issue. And also, just an idea, we've seen a drop in sales tax the last several months. Spoke with Mike, had a brief conversation with Zito. We don't understand really where it's happening or what's going on. Maybe it's time for us to work with, of course, our social media and as well as other entities, the chamber, the county, to push a shop local initiative again in our area. I know that we have everybody who's been involved. It's kind of went down over the years. Not saying we've forgotten about it, but things have been so well that we haven't really had to focus. But for us to continuously see a drop over the last 4 months, Mike, 5 months, something definitely, let's not just sit there and continue to watch it. Let's find a way to get it back going. So, definitely we'll reach out with different entities and figure out what we can get going with that. With that being said, we will adjourn to close executive session. So we have an addendum. We have 12A1, deliberation with city attorney, pursuant to chapter 551 of Texas Government Code. Section 551.071, consultation with city attorney regarding pending or contemplated litigation in regards to Mayra Cervantes versus the city of Orange. Item 2, deliberation with legal counsel, section 551.071, consultation with city attorney regarding Auburn Square at 2388 North Main Street, Vidor, Texas. And we have 12.3, deliberation with legal counsel, 551.071, consultation with city attorney regarding pending litigation, Perez High versus the city of Orange, 712 10th Street, Orange, Texas. At this time, I believe, Ms. Manasco, do they still have time to go vote? No? No? See, I didn't want to mess up. Okay.
Close it.
Okay, good. So just go hang out and watch out for the mosquitoes, and we'll let you know when we reconvene. Thank you. I always forget to do